Hi, I'm Erin Lento with the Witch of Saturn here with my Astro bestie Maggie from Made by Mag
Hi.
Astro. And it is currently Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. We're here to give you this week's upcoming astrology. So it is a new moon as of a few hours ago here on the East Coast. How are you feeling with that, Maggie?
Oh, just totally realigned.
Is that
So,
sarcasm? Is that a
yeah,
sarcasm font?
this it's kind of a weird one because the moon is going to, or maybe has already moved into Scorpio in like a few minutes here. And so it's like 28 degrees of Libra,
Yep.
moon moves into
29,
Scorpio.
29 right now.
Yeah, and immediately squares Pluto. So where it would be usually like a really beautiful energy because Venus is in Libra and rules Libra and it's a Libra new moon. It's got this like dark edge to it. So it's like the you need the light and the darkness in order to find equilibrium. So I guess that's that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling it. I mean, it's like we're getting into that Samhain energy as we come closer to
Hmm.
Halloween. Like, I'm enjoying it. I'm ready. I'm here for all the Scorpio vibes. So,
Yeah.
all
No,
right.
yeah, it's not at all bad. I just feel like it could get, because Mercury is still conjunct Mars, you can see that there at 20 degrees. It can sort of get in your head about those maybe more intrusive or darker thoughts, or like, I should be doing something, I'm not doing enough, like the pushy stuff, stuff like that can be a little hard on the self.
Yeah, or just like exploring some of those deeper psychological themes, right? With some
Hmm.
passion and intensity, like Scorpio enjoys doing.
Exactly. And that's, if you're having those sort of thoughts, it's like a great time to investigate them and explore and make some self discoveries and do shadow work and all that fun stuff. And that's kind of hard to do sometimes, to face hard truths or to look at some darker sides of yourself, that sort of stuff. But it will help you under this new moon to sort of re-establish the self, I think, aside from other people, which is what Libra is very about.
And I think that those shadow themes coming up are important to note. Like we had talked about last week, that today Mercury is entering its shadow period for the upcoming retrograde. And so this is kind of like the previews for what we can expect from the retrograde. And so noting kind of the themes that are coming up, or the energies, or kind of events that are happening in your life today might provide some insight or be helpful coming back around to the retrograde. Like, just take note.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because Mercury will now make a grand water trine with Jupiter and Saturn, which will be something that it'll do it once more, like twice. I don't know if it'll be three times. I'd have to look that up, but it's like a deep dive into our emotional, like all the water signs, right? Our emotional realm.
Yeah, so we can see that here in the chart, this big blue triangle in the center between Mercury in Scorpio, Saturn in Pisces, and Jupiter in Cancer. So that grand water trine. We should also note that by that time, because this is happening on Friday, by that time, um, Neptune will have gone back into
Mm-hmm.
into
Pisces.
Pisces. Yeah, it'll be the last time that Neptune does that. And so that's kind of wrapping up a lot of those themes that we've seen over the past. How long was Neptune? 12 years?
14 years is usually a Neptune transit. So, yeah, between 12 and 14 years.
Yeah,
That's a
so
long time.
Exactly. So we could see some of, those bigger life patterns come back into view to kind of get fully recognized, realized, and tied up before we're moving on with that
Hmm.
particular energy. And then the sun will have also gone into Scorpio by this time. So we have, again, like shining more of a light into those kind of underworld themes and journeys as we move closer to this dark time of the year.
Yeah, and that's emphasized because the sun will square Pluto as soon as it moves into Scorpio tomorrow and
Yep.
build that aspect until Friday. So there's a lot going on like Friday and Saturday as that light shines upon Pluto. And then we have this grand water trine. So it's probably going to be emotional to say the least.
Or maybe exceptionally intuitive. I could see that
Well,
this,
that too, yeah.
right? Like this being an energy where you could really take advantage of this, especially if you are someone who's working with the seasons and this type of time of year where we are kind of all called to go into the shadow and that descent into the underworld vibe.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I don't know, it's very strong in my life right now, and it's just something that I just love anyway. So
Yeah.
really embracing that and seeing what comes up, using your intuitive tools and gifts, it could be an opportunity to really let some of those things come through in a creative way. And with Saturn there too, seems like there could be an ability to kind of make manifest of them in some way. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. It's like enhancing that almost psychic quality of the water signs with Pluto happening as well. So it is definitely a deep dive into another side or another realm of our spirituality if you're into that sort of thing. And it can be insanely healing to like understand what your shadows are and what feelings are coming up at this time. Jupiter's gonna make it big. It's gonna make it like in your face, unavoidable. And yeah, well, that can be like, and I don't mean emotional as it's always just sad and crying and stuff like that. I mean, like, all the emotions can come out of this, right? The moon will be in Sag by then. So the moon and Jupiter are sharing mutual reception. So it's a great time to just sort of like investigate, explore, almost make it an adventure or something to
Yeah,
be like fulfilled, emotionally fulfilled.
and but to do some kind of practices around that, like whether that's meditation or some kind of divinatory work or spell
Mm-hmm.
work or something, there's a real opportunity here, I think, to connect more on that intuitive level. And is this like an out of sign kite happening here? Like with Jupiter and
Mm-hmm.
Pluto? Am I seeing that?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess. Like
kind of.
Jupiter,
Kind of.
that this is like the closest Jupiter will get to the opposition with Pluto before it goes retrograde, and then that happens next year when Jupiter enters Leo, right? So yeah, there's something growing there as well, for sure.
And
That's
then,
interesting.
yeah, it's interesting. And then Mars is going to enter the chat, right? With the
Yeah, of course.
here comes Mars. Um, but that's interesting because it's the traditional ruler of Scorpio seems very apropos to get in on this underworld type of action.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that it could cause us to take action on some of those psychic connections that we've made or that kind of deeper psychological work. Maybe there's some kind of psychological work or even like a healing energy that's come from whatever came up this past weekend with the Mars Mercury conjunction, which how is that for
Hmm.
you? Did you feel it, the explosive vibes?
I just, yeah, some deep thoughts, right? Around, I think because Venus is in Libra and it was a Libra new moon, it brought up a lot of like relational stuff for me and like how I am with other people versus how I am with myself and like, all that kind of stuff. And it's again, it's all going to be emphasized by this huge grand water trine, which a trine has no boundaries, right? There's no barriers there. The water is just going to flow with ease and it's going to be so instinctual. But then, yeah, Saturn sort of like grounds it all down and brings it into like a reality. So whatever, you're right, whatever happened over the last few days that we've been kind of thinking about or pondering about or wanting to take action on or wanting to say over the weekend, it'll be very, can we say that? Are we ready to say that? Mars comes in and ignites the trine. Okay, let's do the thing. Let's take physical action now and move through it. And yeah, this could look like a lot of people unlocking gifts or abilities, or like, the veil is very thin this time of year. So that could also be very true as well.
Yeah, and I think that yeah, also maybe some ancestor work.
Yeah.
But I do think that Saturn's role in the Grand Trine does provide some kind of like natural boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like where that flow through the Grand Trine with the Grand Water Trine does have kind of a directionality or something, that there is some form to it a little bit more with Saturn, kind of like banks of a river, right? Like the water's flowing, but it's not this like huge flood. It has there's some directionality.
Yeah, you can pour it into a cup and then it's in a container and
Yeah,
then
it's
you
like
can work with that.
I think Saturn's influence might be beneficial. And I agree with the Mercury Mars conjunction being very relational. I was thinking on Monday that, divorce lawyers might have a full inbox after that one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people's truths are coming to the surface. A lot of things that people don't want to say or been holding back or have been keeping a secret. And it's like really nudging at us like, is it time to like say that thing that I really, really need to get off my chest? So it this is just gonna emphasize it, I think.
So let's do a quick recap of the week. We have today this new moon. We're starting a new cycle. Pay attention to what's happening with the Mercury retrograde shadow in effect. We'll probably feel a shift tomorrow as Neptune and the Sun both ingress into new water signs. Neptune back into Pisces, the Sun
Mm-hmm.
into Scorpio. And then we're really building that energy of number one, the Sun square Neptune, and then the kind of double grand water trine that Mercury first makes with Jupiter and Saturn, followed by Mars. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the arc of the week, and a little overview on how to work with that energy, right?
Yeah, and I think the best thing to do is to, yeah, ground down into what you're feeling and actually allow yourself to feel it. And if you need to get it out and you're not ready to share it, just to write it out or even like make a recording of you talking about it or something that you can kind of see it from a different perspective with, and then analyze it and see if you still feel the same after that. But yeah, intuitive work, meditative work, anything divinatory work, all that kind of stuff, really great during this time frame.
Yeah, and to just add on to what you had just mentioned about the different ways to process the emotions and the feelings, like to do that with either someone that you feel emotionally safe with, or like you said, through writing, a way to kind of reflect back in on yourself and then take the opportunity to tap into your intuition, especially as we move closer to Halloween.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, spooky season.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a great stopping point. And
Mhm.
Thank you to everyone for joining us. We'll see you back again next week for next week's astrology to come as we go into Samhain. And you can find me on my website, erinlento.com. You can find Maggie through Facebook. She's under madebymagsastro.com. She does a really great update in detail through writing for the day's astrology. So definitely follow her if you're not already, and have a great week.